All right, welcome back to Shadow Shorts. If we've never met before, my name is Jeff Echols. I am a senior advisor and the head of marketing for Shadow Partners. And every weekday at noon Eastern, I bring to you an expert or thought leader in the realm of innovation in the built environment. Sometimes that means architecture, sometimes that means engineering, sometimes that means construction. When we talk real estate, it means all of those things combined. And today is no different. My guest is David Hirschman. He's an executive vice president and the chief content officer at Blueprint. And I think his role is really interesting. I think what he does is really cool. And so today, David and I are going to talk about trends in real estate. So, David, welcome back. I'm glad you're here. And thanks for doing this with us today.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely. Like I said, I am fascinated by your role. I love what you do and what you're charged with because it's speaking has been a big part of my career over the years. And I've got a lot of respect for the people that pull all of these things together. And I'm pulling this together on the shadow side for Summit later this fall. So I'm always intrigued because I think a lot of people pass on this idea. You've got your finger on the pulse, right? You're out there, as we were talking earlier, you're out there interviewing people, talking to people, understanding what the trends are, as you're pulling panels together, et cetera, speakers together. So as you look at the past year, couple years, 3 years, however far you want to look out, what's most interesting to you and what trends do you see in real estate as you're planning Blueprint?
Sure. Well, as I was saying before, it's really a whole year long process by which
Yeah.
we are constantly kind of talking to people, trying to figure out what's going on and kind of how the market's changing, what's important to people, what's not important to people. And ultimately, I'll end up with kind of over 300 speakers, probably 80 or 90 panels at the show. And so, in the process of putting that together, you sort of like get a sense of what is, I guess, changing and what kind of trends are more and less important, both to the VC community, but also to kind of big real estate owner operators or construction companies and that kind of thing. For this year's show, in terms of kind of trends, there's been a lot more focus, I guess, from the VC community on climate-related startups as related to the
Mhm.
built environment, and so we have more of an emphasis on that at the show this year. We have kind of like a lot of companies like focused on multifamily and multifamily tech, and that's sort of a strong spot as well. And then construction tech startups have really kind of come a long way, and kind of with the introduction of AI and robotics are really like starting to like have some real traction. And so that's been, I- I'd say those three are kind of like our kind of touch points of how the show came together this year.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. I mean, a lot of on the shadow venture side, a lot of our portfolio companies are focused on climate, and one of the or two of the topics, the other two topics that you mentioned, are in demand on our side. In fact, KP Reddy, our CEO, we're probably fielding a request a week for him to come and talk about AI and machine learning.
Sure.
So very, very popular. And industrialized construction is what. In fact, I had a conversation yesterday. We're pulling together a panel at Shadow Summit on industrialized construction. So that really tracks with what we're seeing as well, um,
I mean,
on interest categories.
the AI stuff is really interesting because now that it's such a hot category, basically everybody with a product that's even close to AI says that it's AI. And so there's a lot of sort of separating what is actually new and actually kind of pushing the ball forward, and what actually is AI and what is just kind of marketing. And I think we've done a pretty good job, I think, in the show this year, like kind of figuring out like what's like actual kind of incremental pushing the ball down the field and what's just kind of window dressing.
Yeah, well, that's going to be kind of tough though to parse through all of those different topics, and of course, there's a lot of enthusiasm around it and a lot of curiosity around it. As your what's your selection criteria as you're looking at? Um, I hate to say it this way, but what topics or panels are worthy and what are not? I mean, it's competitive, but are you looking at impact? Are you looking at hey, how do we sell tickets? What's the selection criteria for you?
I mean, in a lot of ways, we see ourselves as kind of the CES of real estate, like the one big
Mm,
tech event that we want everyone to go to every year because everyone else will be there. And in that sense, we're sort of an umbrella event in that we cover kind of a wide range of topics from construction tech to single family,
yeah.
multifamily, commercial, industrial, a little bit of smart city stuff as well. And so, part of my mandate is to have kind of everything within that in some way represented, and have kind of a good variety of topics. But I guess the way that we select speakers and kind of the way that we think about speakers, for a lot of the year, we're just trying to get the very, very best speakers together, and then
Hmm.
kind of organizing them into topics and organizing them into what they think is most important. And so, my mandate every year is just to have the lineup be like the best lineup you've ever seen, and then
Sure. Yeah.
and then even better the next year. And so that's kind of our guiding thing. I guess a little bit more than topic, but then the topics kind of come out of that.
Right. Right. That makes sense. And so as you go through this process, does it give you a sense of, if you look even out beyond blueprint, to 30,000 foot view, um, does it give you a sense of what's coming? I mean, we're here at the middle of 2023, essentially right now. Does it give you a sense of what's coming later in this year and 24 and 25, when you kind of gather up everything all the topics that people are pitching?
Well, so it's interesting. The topics that we get pitched and kind of the things that we do are the things that are happening now, and are kind of the things that are reflected in the media now.
Hmm.
I often like to put together panels of VCs, or especially VCs who see early stage startups, because often they will see things that are like 3 and 4 years out, and like all of a sudden they'll be like, "Wow, I'm getting a lot of pitches in this area, in this new thing." And so, in some ways, like early stage VCs have like much more of a radar for that kind of thing than maybe I do. I mean, you can always sort of like project out what you think is going to happen, but
Right.
the things that are hot this year is like AI obviously will continue to have lots and lots of ramifications and all kinds of things. But how it's going to play out, have as good a guess as anyone else, I think.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, you don't have the crystal ball, but you are privy to, at least you have all the pages of the book that you can flip through, right? As
Right.
everybody is coming, and I like that. I completely understand. Well, first because on the Shadow Venture side, we are looking at those early stage startups, and so that's one of the reasons that KP Ready will be speaking at Blueprint. But I think also that ability to sort of look across the landscape and say, okay, they're pulling this together, they're pulling that together. That's to me that would be exciting.
So
Um,
some of the connections we like to make, because we cover these different real estate verticals, um, we like to think that like people who are solving a certain problem in single family, there might be people in multifamily who could look at them and kind of adapt like technologies or ideas or innovation. And so, a lot of the conversations we hope that people have at the show are kind of breaking down silos and talking about like
yeah,
how one thing can be applied to another thing within the kind of the broader idea of what is real estate and what is innovation, that kind of thing.
yeah, yeah. I bring this book up every once in a while, but where do good ideas come from? Stephen Johnson, I think, is the author, but that breaking down of silos or the cross pollination or the near adjacencies or whatever you want to call it. He cites that in the book as that's where real innovation comes from. Right? It's most of the time we see these innovations, we think, oh my gosh, that's groundbreaking. It's a huge innovation when really it's an adaptation from single family to multifamily or vice versa or something like that. So
Sure.
that makes a lot of sense. And so if we've danced around this, we haven't even defined, you haven't even explained yet. I haven't asked you to explain what Blueprint is. So tell us a little bit about Blueprint, the background, what it is, and what you expect this year.
Sure. We've been around for, I guess we started just the very beginning of 2020. So we've been around about 3.5 years. This is going to be our third major event, which is taking place in Las Vegas, September 11th to 13th. And we're expecting about 2,500 people this year. The again, Blueprint, like, we like to think of ourselves as kind of the CES of real estate, kind of like the Super Bowl of real estate innovation every year that everyone shows up at, and you know forms partnerships, makes new contacts, gets deals done. That's our goal, and we have a very kind of thoughtful approach to facilitating meetings and helping people kind of connect with the right people at the show. So that's what we're planning. We're about 5 weeks out at this point, and things are going really well, and hopefully it'll be great.
Yeah, yeah, I love that kind of format because it's, what's the old cliche? It's what's the biggest value or the best part about the conference? Well, it's the things that happen in the corridors, right? It's
Sure.
speakers are great and all those things, but it's those conversations in the corridors that are important. If you're watching this right now, there's a URL in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. It's blueprintvegas.com/shadow shorts. That's obviously a unique URL just for us and Shadow Shorts. You can go to that URL, and there's actually a discount code involved there. So you can buy your ticket to Blueprint. And as I mentioned earlier, KP Reddy, who's our CEO, he'll be speaking on a panel there with Ty Wynn and Dr. Sam Chandon, also on the panel talking about hardware versus software, which I think is going to be it's going to be a little bit of a pot stirrer of a conversation, I think, which is sort of the point. But use that URL if you want to sign up and get a ticket for Blueprint this year. Uh, like I said, you've got your finger on the pulse, and there's a lot of things that are going on, a lot of things on your shoulders. Obviously, you've got a lot of balls in the air. But what are you most excited about as you look towards this year's Blueprint? Is it a topic? Is it a speaker? Is it a theme?
I mean, so this year we have a bunch of kickoff day summits on the Monday the 11th, and people have really gone to town getting great speakers for that. So Fifth Wall is hosting a climate summit on the first day. RET Ventures is hosting a multifamily summit. We have our construction tech summit in kind of collaboration with Era Ventures. And then Thesis Driven from Brad Hargreaves is going to be running on the first day as well as Lab Ventures has their early stage startup showcase. And all of those are just, I mean, it's one of those things where like we used to have just the second 2 days, and the first day was kind of like a lead in, and here like it almost feels like the first day is like kind of the main event. I mean, it's really terrific. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited. We're going to announce it tomorrow, so I can't actually announce it right now. But we have an amazing act at our after party, which in past years we had Nelly last year and Ludacris the year before, but I think that we've topped it this year, and I'm excited about that as well.
Okay. Well, we'll wait for the announcement. I've got a guess as to who it is. I'll ask you after when we're not live anymore, but we'll see if I'm right. Um, yeah, I love the first day format and the first day lineup because I think there's a ton of impact in having all of those specific foci, however you say that, that first day. Again, if you are interested, Blueprint is coming up September 11th through 13th in Las Vegas. The URL in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, blueprintvegas.com/shadow shorts, is a place that you can go and use our code. It's we love it. Show a little bit of support for us. We're not getting anything out of it monetarily, but it's a partnership that we have with Blueprint and David and his team. So go if you're thinking about going. Just use that URL, and you'll actually benefit from it. David, I'm always in admiration of roles like yours because I know what goes into it, but also a little bit jealous because you've got your fingers in the pot, right? And you're getting to connect with all these people and pull all these things together. I mean, really.
I was going to say it does give me an excuse to talk to a lot of interesting people all the time, which
Yeah.
I always used to like as a journalist, and I have continued to have now.
Yeah, yeah, it is really a benefit of a role like that, and yeah, I just appreciate everybody that you're pulling together. So if you're out there in the real estate world, um, and obviously real estate. There's so much. Does real estate have its tentacles in AEC, or does AEC have its tentacles in real estate, or are they even? Can you even separate the two, so to speak? I don't think you can. But if this is your world, I'd encourage you to go check out Blueprint. There's blueprintvegas.com, obviously, is where you find all that information. But check it out, and go out there. Focus on climate, focus on industrialized construction. Um, everything that David has talked about, and have those conversations. They're important. And as we look at innovation and pushing things forward here in the built environment, this is one of the important shows that you need to attend. So, David, thanks a lot for this
Thanks so much.
conversation.
Yeah, it was great.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you. And look forward to seeing you in September. And then I'm going to ask you in a few minutes
Okay.
who the act is. So,
All
with
right.
that, everybody that's out there watching this, thank you. We appreciate you. I'll be back again tomorrow with another expert or thought leader in the realm of innovation for the built environment. Thanks for watching Shadow Shorts. We'll be back. See you tomorrow. Thanks, everybody.